Morning to you. It's a full Good Friday right here on TV47 Morning Cafe. So good to see you. And kama kawaida, a lot is happening. It's World AMR Awareness Day.
Now what is
Lakini,
that?
this is antimicrobial resistance.
That one.
Also known as AMR. Aside from that, it's World Vasectomy Day. Yes, sasa unajua what that means. World Vasectomy Day. Kuna nyingine hapa juu nilikuwa nimeiona, lakini we'll be back to take a look at it. Yeah, World Television Day.
Okay, fine. For World Television Day, I'll definitely be celebrating that. The other ones, tutaongea baadaye. Yeah.
My name is Ann Odida. Karibu sana to Morning Cafe.
My name is Fred Ndimuli. Continuing with a special coverage of the State of the Nation Address 2025. Today we'll be having the youth perspective. Vijana tuambie kama jana walisikiza Rais akisema yale mambo alisema, and if at all he met the expectations. But in other news, it is exactly 40 days to the end of the year. 40 days, zile za mwizi kama saa hii anapatikana end of year. Meanwhile, it is 34 days to Christmas. Mambo inaenda sawa sawa. In 4 days time tutakuwa tumeclock 30 days to Christmas. Ikifika hapo, Christmas tree officially up.
Yes.
Yes. And then it is also a very special day. KCSE, the very last day. After leo shule zinafunga kabisa, hakuna mtihani ingine na wanamaliza na physics paper 3, that's a practical. Imagine everyone else has gone. If you're not doing physics, ushaenda. Ni wale tu wamebaki physics paper 3.
Oh, nice.
All the best to them. By wanaanza 8, by 10:30 they are done and kaput. Holiday yanze.
Oh wow. All the best. Let's take a look at the local dailies. We start off with Taifa Leo, ndoto mpya ya Ruto.
Na kweli ni ndoto. Simply out of touch, that's the standard. Alafu ile picha wametumia ni wale walikuwa naimba 2 term kwa parliament jana.
Anyway, kuna mtu amewaita parrots, lakini tutaangalia huko mwisho. Daily Nation, Ruto's roadmap to Singapore.
Aliwaambia shida ni munaenda Singapore, lakini tuko wapi sasa? Ruto, it can be done. Kama ile, yes we can. It can be done. That's a weekend star.
People Daily, why Kenya's running mate battles still circle back to tribal divides.
Hata hawakushughulika na State of the Nation Address, walienda mambo ingine.
Wamechoka.
Matters Business, Vodacom eyes state stake in Safaricom, a big story there on the front page of the Business Daily. For the youth perspective, familiar faces here: Nick Mwangi, Gakuna Njima Castro, Hans Rop, Hafidh Mohammed, and Rejoice Mutheu. They've all been in studio to give us their perspective as young Kenyans on what they feel the president got right in his speech yesterday or what he missed. Yes, that coming away at 6:30. Remember, it's also Feel Good Friday. Leo mko na nani?
Leo tuko na DJ Kicks and of course Bansi Kimu, the weekend kiwi. Last week tulifanya gospel edition.
Niliona room ulikuwa tu hapa, hata Bansi alikuwa tu. Leo anarudi reset settings.
Yeye ni pro wa hiyo gospel. Last week ilinasa mbaya.
Leo ni back to factory settings.
Ni kama.
Okay.
Sawa, let's cross over to Uganda. Older persons age pay rise and age reduced to 65. 373 billion shillings earmarked for 1.4 million people. This story has been covered on page 8 of this newspaper.
And I like the way they've used this word. You know, older person's age pay raised. Unajua wengine wangesema raised, wangesema raised. I don't know. Maybe ni space ilikosa, lakini interesting.
But lakini unajua hawa kizungu yao pia.
No, they're very good in English. Actually, they could be right. They could be right. Pronunciation, they may get it wrong, but at least.
Sasa labda wali mean raised, lakini wameandika raised.
Definitely they're saying wame increase.
Okay. Electric bus, Kayola embarks on 30-day expedition. This is a new vision. Na leo Museveni hayuko hapa mbele.
Leo ni kama wamechoka, lakini wamewaclamp wote pamoja. Wamelamp Museveni pamoja na wale watatu wale, Chagulani, Mufabi na wewe mwingine anaitwa nani? Mufabi na Matibu.
I think ni Muntu.
Matibu. Now the top 4 candidates. Remember there are 8 in total, but this time they've been lumped together pale.
Celebrities growing up without a dad. Yeah, man.
Eddie Kenzo.
A race for parliament heats up. Matters election there. Road to fast oil. 14 trillion shillings oil deals up for grabs. And of course, still in Uganda, traders case adjourned as Ham files counter suit. This is the new vision.
Oh yes, we have. I was thinking maybe Haikuwa. Daily Monitor still there. Matters Transportation. No, it's like they've taken a break from politics. Not much politics. That bus, Uganda launching electric bus expedition, is a big one there. but SGR dream getting closer. So matters infrastructure given prominence. The long-awaited extension of the SGR from Naivasha in Kenya to the Ugandan border town of Malaba will commence next year, according to the President of Kenya, William. So they're just quoting President William Ruto. So even then, they're talking about the State of the Nation address by President William Ruto, incidentally, because even the expansion of the Rironi-Mau Summit Road will impact greatly on exports through, or even imports through Mombasa. So yes, other stories here. When defiance turned costly for Besigye lawyer. And those are just the stories there. Electoral Commission investigates Brigadier Washande nomination there. And that's the Daily Monitor. We cross over to Tanzania.
Gazeti la Mwananchi ni zaidi ya uchunguzi. Na Rais Samia aizindua akisisitiza kuwa ni na imani na wajumbe, sifa na uwezo vyatajwa kuwabeba. Ataja mambo ya kumulikwa, akigusia kilio cha tume huru za kimataifa. Wadau watia shaka, wataka suluhisho la kudumu. Tume vurugu za Oktoba tarehe 29.
Nilimsikiza akiongea na unakumbuka wakati during the Gen Z protest last year, tukaambiwa it's some NGOs, they even mentioned Ford Foundation. And Samia Suluhu Hassan spoke yesterday and said the same thing. Hao vijana walilipwa wakapewa fedha ndio wakaenda barabarani.
Same in Tanzania.
Same. Copy paste.
Imani na wajumbe wa tume. Rais amesisitiza ubobevu katika nyanja mbalimbali miongoni mwa wajumbe wa tume hiyo vinampa imani kubwa ya kutimiza malengo yote ndani ya muda. Pia amezungumzia changamoto za vijana walilipwa fedha ni swali pale, whatever Fred is talking about, mbinu kukabili vurugu na kauli za vyama vya siasa. Taasisi 27 za Kiislamu zaibuka na mambo 17. Vita mamea wenye viti ya tikisa CCM. Na kule juu, mamia wa mzika MC Pilipili, ndugu walia na muuaji. Gazeti la Mwananchi.
Yes, staying in Tanzania, the same story given prominence on the front page of The Citizen. Samia exposed forces beyond October 29th unrest. President Samia Suluhu Hassan yesterday described the unrest of October 29th as something none of us ever expected to witness, and said the country must address the structural and political pressures that culminated in the violence. But on one hand she says that, then on the other hand she says NGOs paid people to go to the streets. Hao sioni kama watapata jibu wakiendelea hivyo. Kwingineko, government counts cost of vandalism as it partially restores BRT services. Na kuna mabasi kweli kwenye kurasa za mbele za magazeti huko region. Basi huko Uganda, basi kule Tanzania, ni mabasi tu. Kenya kwani hatuna basi. BAKWATA unveiled 17 proposals to rebuild peace in Tanzania. That's the Muslim Islamic umbrella body. Pale juu, how influence of social media is making healthy living more complicated. Unajua sasa kila mtu anakuambia unafaa umeze, inaitwa ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha.
Na wengine wasema umeze moringa. Ndio sijui ufanye nini. Na wengine ukikula hizo zote wewe mwenyewe shauri yako.
Na basi. Lakini wewe unafanya ashwagandha.
Mimi nani alikuambia?
All right, let's take a look at the weather situation. And tunaanza wapi hapa?
Today we're focusing on most of the areas that are having by-elections next week on Thursday. So we start off in Homa Bay. Wale candidates wa Homa Bay walikuwa wamepewa fine ya 1 million kila mmoja. Wa Kasipul. Kule Homa Bay. So in Homa Bay today, it's quite warm this morning, 21 degrees. It will get as hot as 28 for the most part of the afternoon. They say it is cloudy, but no chance of rainfall. Wanasema 30% precipitation. Hapa sioni kama kutanyesha sana, lakini jua kiko kule. Na hii itaendelea into the weekend. By next week, I'm telling you, by Thursday, it will be 31 degrees as people go to vote in Kasipul. Yeah. Kakamega.
It's 14 degrees this morning in Kakamega. It's a cloudy day. Highs of 29 degrees. It's a very hot day in Kakamega today. Precipitation kidogo sana, 10% they say. Weekendi nafika 31 degrees all the way into next week.
Siku ya by-election ni 31. Kule Kakamega kuna by-election wapi? Malava constituency. 31, just like Homa Bay, it will be 31 degrees in Malava. Joto proper. Let's go to Mandera, where we have Banisa, one of the constituencies having by-elections. It is quite warm this morning at 25 degrees. It will get as hot as 37 by mid-afternoon. They say it's clear skies with periodic clouds. Tukae tu hapo clear skies, sioni cloud anywhere. Next Thursday, it will be 36 degrees. Unaungua. Whoever is going out to vote, definitely watasikia joto. We go to Embu.
In Embu, this morning it's 16 degrees. Feels like it. It's a partly cloudy day in Embu. Highs over 26 degrees and precipitation here kidogo pia 5%. Hawa ndio wale wa
Mbeere North.
Vote sijui siafu ndio ile caricature.
Hiyo ndio Mbeere North sasa pale, na tukiangalia siku ya by election itakuwa 25 degrees. Not so bad, at least fairer. We go to Kilifi, where Magarini constituency is situated. There definitely there is rainfall today. It is quite warm this morning at 26 degrees. It will get as hot as 31 degrees later in the afternoon. Mostly cloudy, a lot of rainfall expected between 10 a.m. this morning all the way up until mid-afternoon. So, and hiyo kutanyesha kweli. But ikifika next week, siku ya uchaguzi, 30 degrees. Bado joto.
All right, finally Nairobi, 17 degrees this morning, feels like 16. Highs of 26 degrees and precipitation in Nairobi 10%, hakuna mvua hata kidogo. Yeah, weekend wanasema itashuka kidogo, 24, 25. Lakini this morning it's 11 minutes,
Yes.
past 6.
Najua watoto wote wakishafunga shule sasa ni sherehe zinaanza officially. Let's take a look at the Friday traffic this morning. As schools close and candidates finish off their KCSE exams, there will be a lot of travel expected to various parts as students head home, others head to the countryside. Outer Ring Road, nothing out of the ordinary pale further Natasia, kidogo kidogo. Jogoo Road, same problem pale Makadara, building up slowly at the City Stadium roundabout. As I told you, bus hapa ukifika ni wale wa travelers, you can already see pale Machakos bus station, a stretch of red pale. Na hata ukiingia town pale Haile Selassie Avenue, iko shida kidogo. Other major tributaries into town are looking good this morning. Watu wengi hawajaamka. Hata internet ni kama haijaamka, lakini Pangani interchange, yes, kuna pale it's building up slowly, nothing out of the ordinary. Further north of Thika Road, there's a stretch pale after Githurai just before you get to Kasarani, a stretch of red. That could be an incident on that highway. Hapo kama hujapita chunga, that can actually lead to a very huge problem in a very few minutes. The major tributaries, Mombasa Road from the airport is looking green into the CBD, and so is Wayaki Way and all the other tributaries. So sio mbaya sana. Typical Friday traffic. Wanasema it's a feel-good Friday even on the roads.
All right, let's have the quote of the day.
No need to hurry, no need to sparkle, no need to be anybody but oneself.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies in depth. Ndoto mpya ya Ruto ndio habari kuu katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Nasema kwamba Rais William Ruto ameeleza ndoto yake mpya ya kitaifa, akisisitiza nguzo 4 kuu zitakachochea ukuaji wa Kenya: uwekezaji kwa raia kupitia elimu na ujuzi, uchumi wa viwandani, ujenzi wa mabwawa makubwa na miundombinu ya barabara, pamoja na nishati ya kutegemewa. Rais ahutubia taifa bungeni na kufafanua ufanisi wa baadhi ya miradi na kuahidi makubwa siku zijazo.
Hiyo kuahidi makubwa siku zijazo, that's a question watu wengi walikuwa wasema, is that our state? Is that the state of the nation? Because the state of the nation is where we are right now. Si pahali tutaenda, ni mahali tuko sasa.
Serikali imeongeza bajeti ya elimu kutoka shilingi bilioni 490 mwaka 2021 hadi zaidi ya shilingi 700 bilioni mwaka huu, kulingana na Rais William Ruto. Vidokezo zaidi katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili: bei ya mahindi ya panda. Ni Krismasi ya mapema kwa wakulima wa mahindi, huku bei ya nafaka hiyo ikipanda. Lakini to consumers, je, it's good to the farmers, lakini consumer. Kindiki na Gachagua wakabana, ushindi Mbeere North utaonyesha iwapo ni Kindiki au Gachagua ndiye mbabe wa siasa za Mlima Kenya. Israel yaua 25 kwenye shambulio. Muungano wa upinzani wa kejeli ahadi hewa, quote and quote. Hiyo ni with regard to state of the nation. Vyama vipya 25 vyasajiliwa, 30 vyatuma maombi. Anasema kwamba vyama vipya 25 vya kisiasa vyasajiliwa ndani ya miezi michache iliyopita kwa lengo la kushiriki uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka 2027. Masala ya spoti pia pale, macho kwa Arsenal, ligi ikirejea hapo kesho.
Oh yes. Watu walikuwa unasemaje kuboeka kwa Kiswahili?
Kuboeka.
Ni kuboeka.
Kusinyika, kukereka.
Tuangazie gazeti la The Standard, and they're simply saying it is simply out of touch. Yes, that address by the president, according to this paper, nawaona sana, saying it's selective hope. The chance of two-term by MPs during President William Ruto's State of the Nation address confirmed the worrying reality that Kenyans are on their own. It depicted a leadership disconnected from reality, just like the president's speech that cherry-picked successes and overlooked pressing issues. Chronic healthcare gaps went unaddressed, education struggles were ignored. Meanwhile, Kenyans face rising living costs, economic pressures, and worsening insecurity. Ruto offered aspirational promises but left the country's most urgent problems untouched. This is according to The Standard, and they've covered this story on pages 8 and 9. And they've used this picture here on the front page of MPs. And if you are watching them, it's like they are not even listening to the president. Ni kama walikuwa wameambiwa, akisema hivi, muamuke, muanze kuchant. So wale walikuwa nakungojea tu siaseme. Unaona mtu nikaa asimame kidogo, anaona hapana bado amweka bado hajafika. Yeah. Unajua, to be honest, they were not even listening to the address by the president. Walikuwa tu timed, wanajua, tutamka tuseme two-term. Yes, that's how great our parliamentarians are. Members of parliament chanting two-term in parliament. But the highlights here, and the proposed construction of 250 megadams. You know, now that's the issue. You've not constructed any. It's the 250 that will come. Then the road that will start construction later this week. Then the energy that's going to be generated, and everything that's going to come, and the infrastructure fund and the sovereignty fund and everything that's going to come. And people are asking, okay, is that our state right now? Or that will be our state once we get there? Yes. So out of touch. That's according to The Standard. Ruto cherry picks statistics which hide pain in a troubled nation, and experts stare into president's health agenda. Tutors say speech ignored key education issues. President paints a glossy picture of economic growth amid rising prices. Ruto dreams of great leap forward without fighting corruption. That's another criticism towards his speech yesterday. And head of state speaks big on jobs amid concerns of labor export. Nyingine hapa, housing project, number of workers just do not add up. Jana alisema there are about 428,000 jobs created by the housing, affordable housing. Akiwa Machakos, ile trip ya Ukambani alikuwa amesema ni 600,000 walikuwa sha create. So watu wanauliza, which is which, Mr. President?
In a month?
No, so far, this year. All right, pale nyuma, gang reacts, Haiti unites, goes wild as fans celebrate 2026 World Cup qualification. Hapa sasa ndio Wakenya wanauliza, hawa watu hata hawana polisi, wanapigana kila siku. Sisi ndio tunawasaidia hadi na polisi, askari polisi. Lakini they qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Sisi meanwhile tunatandikwa mabao 8 bila jibu na Senegal. I tell you the irony of life. Yeah. All right, that's a standard.
Tukisonga mbele, Daily Nation, Ruto's roadmap to Singapore, lofty dream. Now, bullish President William Ruto yesterday outlined his grand vision for the country's belated transformation into a first-world nation, but for which Kenyans must pay a hefty price, 5 trillion shillings to actualize. A bullish. Casting the image of a man on a mission, he highlighted how he will deliver Singapore amid criticism. His plan is out of touch and devoid of reality. Is he too ambitious? Will he surmount the challenges?
Once again, we need 5 trillion shillings to get to Singapore. Lakini tuko wapi sasa? And that's what everyone was hoping. We'll be told where we are right now. Not, okay, fine. Anyway, we might be at Singapore by next year. So the next State of the Nation address, talk what number we are in Singapore.
Hope. Yeah. And the Daily Nation has covered this on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. 8 pages, including the front page. Economy and agriculture, education, energy, transport, and logistics, zote ziko hapa ndani. State of the Nation, and opposition accuses president of self-praise and ignoring real issues. He's quoted here, tuone hiyo quote, what it's talking about. Anasema honorable members, estimates indicate that achieving these 4 priorities will require at least, yes, 5 trillion shillings. This is undeniably a large sum. Some may see it as unrealistic, even audacious for a country like ours. Vidokeza zaidi, witnesses recount horror in school fire tragedy. PSG's Hakimi named African Footballer of the Year for exploits. And on the back page of the Daily Nation, lessons the basketball team has picked from Tokyo. 2025 Summer Deaf Olympics, Kenya also made her debut in swimming, and head coach Chepkoi blamed it on lack of competitive matches ahead of the global event. And Kenyan stars set for 5,000 meters showdown at Tokyo Games. At least hiyo tunaweza toka na kitu ni mbio. And Champs Police face Mathare as 8 matches in the cards. That's the Daily Nation this morning.
And on those CAF awards, zile za African awards kule nyuma, President William Ruto was also awarded something. He got, I think, you head of state something. I'm sure it will be more elaborate in the next few days. Let's move on to the Weekend Star. Sema Ruto says it can be done. The president lists education, agriculture, energy and transport infrastructure as key pillars for his grand plan to make Kenya a first world economy. So 27 million Kenyans, he said, have already been registered under SHA. Walimu 100,000 by January. 230,000 affordable houses under construction, not completed, under construction, he says. SGR extension from Naivasha to Kisumu to Malaba, ile yenye hata the Daily Monitor in Uganda is talking about. Major roads to be dualled, na ili leta shida sana na MPs wa Northern Kenya. They say all the roads that are set to be dualled, none of them is from that region. And they say that they will, one of the MPs I heard was actually saying they should be allowed to secede if at all the rest of Kenya is not interested in them. Yeah, and he's a UDA MP, remember. Lakini nakumbuka sile Northern Kenya ndio kule tulikuwa tunambo ile barabara ya kutoka Kutulo. Iende ipitie Ramu.
That one.
Iende ifike wapi? Kwani ilienda wapi? All privatization proceeds ring-fenced for infrastructure. He said yes, that from the privatization of state resources, which he will, a law which he will sign into, a bill which he will sign into law, I think today or tomorrow.
Today, yes.
A lot of that financing that comes from that will go towards the infrastructure fund and the sovereign fund. That's what he said. All right, other stories given prominence here. More Kenyan girls can expect a future free of cervical cancer. That's the Ministry of Health saying. And civil servants lose pension billions in treasury cash delays. That's an audit. Remember, being the Weekend Star, it comes with the Siasa pullout. Today they're talking about the fall of the house of Raila, the Raila built, matters ODM given prominence there. The Weekend Star, fresh, independent, different.
All right. People Daily, why Kenya's running mate battle still circle back to tribal divides. Key presidential contenders, President William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka, Fred Matiang'i, and Hassan Joho. Hassan Joho pia.
Unajua ni regional kingpin. Hawa wanaitwa regional kingpins. That's why they're talking about tribal divides.
Yeah.
Ukitaka ku capture your region, you have to consider the kingpin of that region.
Kindiki Kithure is also here, George Natembea, Martha Karua, Gladys Wanga. Kuna mwingine hayuko, lakini asha claim yeye ndio kingpin wa huko.
Oh, yeah.
Bila yeye hawezi ingia hapo.
But they're calling that these are the key presidential contenders. Okay, fine, probably Hassan Joho is a key presidential contender as well. Interesting that the People Daily chose not to go with the State of the Nation address, but they do have a story in the inside pages, at least one page dedicated to stories from the presidential address yesterday.
All right. 2027 hurdles, that's the main headline here on the front page. Lakini kule juu, Chris Wamalwa's bid for Trans Nzoia governor sparks a challenge.
Yes.
It's another story on page 6.
That's a former Kiminini MP. Na amepotea, amenyamaza sana tangu apoteze kiti hicho. All right.
People Daily.
People Daily. Then we finalize with the Business Daily. Vodacom eyes state stake in Safaricom. South Africa's Vodacom Group is seeking to acquire part of the government's stake in Safaricom in a deal that could see the Johannesburg-based firm take majority control of the Kenyan telecoms operator. So yes, this has previously been proposed, but many people or critics then said, okay, fine. Can you imagine how much data that is close to Kenyans that Safaricom has? even how Kenya's survival and economy depends on this one platform called M-Pesa. All payments right now are through M-Pesa. Safaricom holds most of our data right now. Then if at all this could go in the hands of a foreign firm because of the ownership of Safaricom, what would that mean? Those are just some of the concerns. So South Africa's operator seeks extra Safaricom stake, and Treasury Miles cutting ownership in Kenya's top telco. So it is actually a consideration the government is giving this. They could actually give their stake. Safaricom is now controlled by, the majority control is out of Kenyan hands.
PPP.
Kenyan hands kabisa, iende sasa Vodacom ndio wana control majority. We lose our say in that company. Yeah. On the ticker, Ruto now bets on sovereign funds to deliver infrastructure from the State of the Nation address. Jumbo Jet eyes West-South and Africa routes with new planes. And finally, household business loans rise to two-year high of 77.8 billion shillings. These are just some of the business-related stories on the Friday edition of the Business Daily.
All right.
So yes, once again, it is a youth perspective today on Morning Cafe. Focusing, of course, on the State of the Nation Address 2025, we'll be having Nick Mwangi, who's the SG Kenya Ahadi Party, Kakuna Njima Castro, who's the founder of the National People's Guard, Hans Rop, who's a political commentator, Havith Mohammed, also a political commentator, and Rejoice Mutheu, who's an aspirant for woman rep seat of Machakos County, come 2027. Do stand by for that in a few minutes' time.
It's a Feel Good Friday. Bansi Kimoyo and DJ Kicks will be here later on for a Feel Good Friday hits. Tuangalie caricature. This is the standard. Promises, 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 promises. Kila mahali hapo chini. When I delivered my first State of the Nation address, vis-a-vis, I had a vision to sell. Today, I have a story to tell.
Promises, 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 promises. That's the State of the Nation. Promises. Sio nimesema ni cartoon, wacheni kunikasirikia. The Star. Hey, this one here has a caricature of the president on one side and a group of owls. They're called a what? A parliament of owls. Yes. Oh, now I see why they used owls. Because it's a parliament. Two term. That's the Star.
This is the Daily Nation. The scale imewekwa pale. State of the Nation address. But kwa Wakenya,
ni kama afiki.
Hajafika 180. 130 hata ni 4 feet kweli.
Wakenya wamesema haujafika bado.
This is 3 feet.
That's according to the cartoonist on the Nation.
Yes.
The cartoonist at the People Daily, huyo anaitwa Stano. Huyo ndo aliamua kuenda off kabisa. Out of the 4 cartoons, he's the only one who's focused on something different, and this is about Western Kenya politics. Kuna mtoto pale chini anaitwa Tawe. Natembea. So hapa kuna wale watu wanaitangwa nani? Well, let me not. Yes. Kuna mmoja anasema anatembea. Anatambaa. Alafu mwingine anamuaccuse, you want to run before you walk. Huyu jamaa amecause a lot of problems in Western Kenya. Unaona hata kwa ile People Daily amewekwa pale kama potential presidential contender.
Yes.
None of these characters is there. It's only him.
Anatetemesha.
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 Akijaribu kutembea.
Huyo angemweka huko mwisho, anatetemesha. We still have time. So maybe traffic one more time.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the traffic situation. A few minutes to 6:30. We see if at all there's any significant change. Nothing much has changed apart from what we can see at Pangani Interchange, that it's getting busier. Lakini sio mbaya sana. Ni kama leo watu hawajaamka. Thika Road, ile situation ilikuwa pale after Githurai. It seems to have eased off, so nothing much there. I was hoping, okay, not hoping, I was anticipating that the traffic on Outer Ring Road would significantly change. It hasn't. The only thing I can see in Pale Makadara, it's building up. Now that what was yellow is a stretch of red. Mudhuru and Haile Selassie Avenue, that's where most of the concentration of traffic is this morning, especially opposite Machakos bus station as you head towards town, and Haile Selassie Avenue. Babasi yote ya kwenda Ushago iko hii area. That's why na watoto wamemaliza mtihani. Remember, physics paper 3, that's practical. Inaanza saa 2 sai, 10:30 wafunge wachukue mabox home. Sherehe ianze. That's the traffic situation. Huku wengine ni kama wajaamka. It's a Friday. It's a Friday and we work from home.
Very well.
Yeah. We mbona work from home?
Ipo siku. All right, interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X, at TV47 Digital. My handle on X is at @Ann_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47 Feel Good Friday.
Yes, my handle on X is at Fred Indemuli. See you after the break.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Mimi ni simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Frederick. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Frederick is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Ani wewe furahia umekaa na kasipuni. CP unit ni Punet.
Ni Punet. So you guys knew about...
Piga.
Sawa basi. Nasema, that I'm giving the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Next time you need fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon back and forth under your palm on the counter. When you squeeze, you'll get more juice from the lemon with way less effort.
your day with Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. with Ann Odida. Dive deep into the dynamics of love, friendship, and family as we explore the stories that shape our connections. Then satisfy your appetite with Tasty Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where Anne serves up delicious recipes, cooking tips, and the latest food trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday every Wednesday 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Morning Cafe.
Your nose alone won't always tell you if your eggs have gone bad. To find out, gently place uncooked eggs in a bowl of cold water. If an egg sinks to the bottom, it's A-OK. If it floats, it's seen better days.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Oma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
Walikutoka.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Mimi simpa. Hiyo naona nakubali.
Wewe ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
Yes, indeed, you're watching Morning Cafe. Today being Friday, it is a youth perspective with a focus on the State of the Nation Address 2025. Ruto's roadmap to Singapore is a big one on the front page of the Daily Nation. Matters to do with moving Kenya to the first world status. Ruto says it can be done. That's the front page of the Star. But according to the Standard, he's simply out of touch. This is what we're going to be discussing with my panelists this morning. A quick introduction of my panelists because I'm going to be joining our team in radio very shortly to discuss the same. And we start off on my immediate right with Gakuna Njima Castro, who's a political scientist and also the founder of the National People's Guard. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me.
Also with us this morning is Murugi Gitonga, a digital worker and youth activist. It's good to have you in studio. Karibu. Nick Mwangi, the SG Kenya Hardy Party, is also with us, and asoma gazeti pale ile inasema out of touch. Karibu sana Nick, it's good to have you.
Good morning.
And Hans Rope at the back there. Hans Rope, karibu sana. Hans, if you were to rate the president's address 1 to 10, Onampa?
I'll give 81+.
8 out of 10.
8, yeah.
All right. And Rejoice is also with us. Rejoice is an aspiring woman rep from Machakos County. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yeah. All right. So I guess it's time for me to join the big boys of radio for a short discussion. I'll be back to take a look at this with my panelists in a short while.
Alafu wakasema namna gani? The chance of two-term by MPs during President William Ruto's State of the Nation address confirmed the worrying reality that Kenyans are on their own. Kenyans are on their own. Ikaendelea kusema kwamba ni uongozi, yani leadership ambao ni disconnected from reality, just like the president's speech that cherry-picked success and outlooked pressing issues. Chronic healthcare gaps went unaddressed, education struggles were ignored. Meanwhile, Kenyans face rising living cost, economic pressure, and worsening insecurity. Ruto offered an inspirational promises but left the country's most urgent problems untouched. Fred Ndimuli, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Habari ya asubuhi.
Habari ni ya State of the Nation.
State of the Nation pale vile.
Kabisa.
Maana kinacheki pale katika gazeti la The Standard unasema simply out of touch.
Amemwambia ni kama unajua jana kwanza walikuwa wameongea vibaya zaidi wakasema it is hot air.
Okay.
What he delivered last year. So this year wanasema ni simply out of touch.
Is he out of touch?
Well, it depends. Unajua watu wengi wanasema una describe state of the nation kama nini? Ukiulizwa what is your state? Utasema nini?
Okay.
State ni vile uko sasa.
Exactly. Ni vile ambavyo nipo kwa hivi sasa. Mambo yangu yako namna gani?
Sasa hivi uko.
Am I okay?
Sasa hivi
you know,
what is your state?
Can I pay my bills?
Exactly.
You know, my state kwa hivi sasa naweza kusema my state I am not okay financially. Ama my state I am okay financially.
My state pengine nimeshiba.
Lakini
si ati nitakuja kushiba hapo kesho.
Okay.
That is not your state.
So kwa ufupi unasema kwamba rais anatuambia kwamba tutashiba hapo kesho.
Tutaenda Singapore
kwa miaka 7 ijayo.
Tunahitaji shilingi trilioni 5 alafu ndio tujenge mabarabara, to boost agriculture, to boost education and infrastructure, alafu ndio tukue kama Singapore.
Kwani?
Lakini hiyo ndio mimi nauliza ni swali. Is that our state? Ama hiyo is our aspiration? Mali tutaenda.
Hiyo ni kuaspire.
Yes.
Ni matamanio yetu.
Bas.
Ni mapendekezo yetu.
Na itakuja
tungelipenda hivyo ndo tunataka iwe.
Bas.
Kwa miaka 7. So ulikuwa unataka azungumzie maisha kwa hivi sasa.
Hapa tuko wapi sasa? Zile shida tunazo ni gani? Zile challenges tuko nazo ni gani? Ndio kuna successes,
ndio
hatukatai. Hizo zungumzia, hiyo ndio hali yetu sasa. That is a state of the nation. Because ni kila mwaka, hata next year atakuja tupatie state of the nation mwaka ujao.
Kwani Ndibuli? Maana sasa sitaki nikuulize kama mwana habari. Nataka nikuulize kama Mkenya. Fred Ndibuli, ulikuwa unataka zungumzie nini kuhusiana na mambo ya sasa?
Mimi hata kama mwanahabari, sababu mimi kazi yangu ni kupeana habari vile zinakuja.
Exactly.
Anafaa tuambie zile shida tuko nazo, tumefika wapi, alafu sisi tuambie Wakenya hapa ndio tuko.
Okay.
Hiyo ndo kazi yetu. Tunaambia rais amesema tuko hapa. Ni kweli tumefika hapa. Ukienda utembee hospitali tumefika hapa. Masuala ya elimu hapa ndio tumefika. Na ndio unaweza gusia kidogo, hata kama tumefika hapa, tuna matumaini kwamba kwa miezi michache ijayo tunaweza ongeza mambo moja mawili hapa na pale.
Kwani hivi Mkenya hataki kusikia kwamba barabara zimetengenezwa? Hivi Mkenya hataki kusikia kwamba serikali itakuwa ikianza barabara kutoka Rironi kuelekea Mau Summit hivi karibuni? Hivi Mkenya hataki kusikia kuhusiana na kuhusiana na kwamba tunataka tuongezee stima paka 10,000 megawati na kadhalika? Mkenya hataki kusikia hiyo kabisa.
Ni sawa, ni vizuri kusikia hiyo. Ni vizuri kusikia hiyo.
Ndio
tutasikia hayo. Hata wale wa Mbere na wapi wengine wanaambiwa ngoja mkinichagua nitafanya na nitatenda na nitatekeleza. Wacha nitumie mfano mmoja. Jana baada ya hotuba hii ya rais, kuna MPs wa kule North Eastern hawakufurahi sana. Wanasema kwa hizo barabara zote ambazo zimeorodheshwa zitafanywa dueling, hakuna hata moja huko kwetu. Mpaka kuna moja alikuwa anasema hata pengine hata sisi tusicede. Mbona mtufikiri? Alafu nikakumbuka una wakati rais alikuwa ameenda maeneo hayo.
Exactly.
Na akasema kuna barabara moja itatoka Kotulo iende Ramu. Ipitie wapi? Iende, mbona hao wanasema hawana barabara? Lakini si waliambiwa kutakuwa na barabara. So kuna ile promise versus reality.
Kwani barabara bado haijaanza kujengwa?
Mimi sijui kama wao wenyewe wanasema hawana barabara, ni wao na ni MPs, si tuseme nini.
Ama tuulize kwani hii barabara
mliambiwa?
Hii barabara maana kuna wasikilizaji ambao wako mimi hata nangoja tu launch barabara.
Na kama wako na hiyo barabara, mbona wanakuja complain?
Yote ndo ya kuangalia, ndo story ambazo ziko katika gazeti la The Standard na vile pia katika gazeti pia la Daily Nation pia ni the same story, because ukienda katika Daily Nation inasema kwamba Ruto's roadmap to Singapore. Zungumzia kwamba tuko katika safari ya kuingia Singapore. Fred Ndimuli bwana.
Is that our state right now? Tuko Singapore tayari?
No, it's our plan. It's part.
Kama tunasema tunataka kuenda holiday Diani.
Ndio.
Tuko Diani?
Hatujafika Diani bado.
Tutaenda.
Tunapanga tuende.
Tukifika Diani tunasema tumefika.
Kwa hivi sasa tuongelee Madhari.
Tuongelee hapa.
Tuongelee Kibira.
My thinking, because inasemekana, unajua hii kitu is provided for in the law. Article 132. Na inapeana, it's based on national values zenye ziko Article 10. Na inasema zile vitu unafaa kuzungumzia. Equity, equality, masuala ya human rights. Na hayo ndio pengine watu wanasema, hata kama last year na hotuba yake ya 2024 aligusia masuala ya human rights, because kulikuwa na vita vingi na Gen Z walikuwa wameenda barabarani, wengine wakauawa. Imefanyika tena mwaka huu. Lakini kwa hiyo hotuba hakukuwa na hata neno moja kuhusu ni nini kilichotendeka na imefika mahali wapi. Kumbuka hii serikali tayari isha set up committee ya compensation. Mbona kama usha set up committee ya compensation, hiyo inamaanisha una acknowledge kulikuwa na vitu zimetendeka. Mbona kwa State of the Nation
haukuongelea?
Haiko.
Maana Wakenya wengi kwa hivi sasa pia katika gazeti la The Star pia it's the same story by the way. Ruto, it can be done. Yani yuko katika matumaini kwamba inaweza kufanyika. Ushaona, inaweza kufanyika. So State of the Nation nyingine maybe unataka rais atuambie itafanyika kivipi, pesa iko upande gani ya kufanya hii, tutaitoa vipi na kadhalika.
Inafaa ikifika wakati huo next year. Mwaka jana niliwaambia tutatenda. Mwaka huu tumetenda. Nao hapo na aseme basi kulikuwa na shida hapa na pale. Kuna changamoto hapa na pale.
Lakini rais alisema kwamba nilisema kwamba nitashukisha mbolea. Na akashukisha mbolea. Kwa hivi sasa katika sekta agriculture naona watu wanasema kwamba mambo yako salama au salimini.
Lakini ukiangalia State of the Nation address yake ya mwaka jana, hiyo mbolea ilikuwepo.
Ndio.
Ile affordable housing ya 200,000 ilikuwepo. Sisemi hazijajengwa. Lakini tutarudia haya mambo kila mwaka hadi siku gani?
Tuambie vitu vingine.
Tuambie sasa tumefika hapa. Lakini maybe I'm being too harsh. Habari nyingine ambazo zinapewa kipaumbele ni ile by election ya next week. Siku 6 peke yake zimebaki.
Ndio.
Next week ikifika hivi tunaharibika kweli kweli.
Kibomana,
Mbere, Kasipul, Magarini,
ndio,
Baringo, Malava na Banisa. Moto. Hata ukiangalia tulikuwa tunaangalia hali ya anga next week. Maeneo hayo yote yatakuwa 31 degrees.
Umeangalia mpaka hali ya anga.
Yote yatakuwa 31 degrees. Joto proper.
Katika gazeti pia la Taifa Leo pia ndoto mpya ya Ruto, bado masuala ni yale ambayo yanazungumziwa katika ile gazeti. Alafu vile vile pia kuna ile press statement pia upinzani pia muungano pia upinzani hapo jana nimeona pia kina Kalonzo pia amejitokelezea pia na kuzungumzia hotuba ya rais katika State of the Nation.
Wanasema hiyo ilikuwa ni inaitwaje, hadithi ya kujisifia tu. Ni kama shairi umejiandikia kujisifia tu. Mimi nimefanya, nimetenda, lakini nitatenda. Mambo kama mabwawa alikuwa amesema 50 dams or so. This is the same promise. Hii ni hadi alikuwa amepeana wakati wa uchaguzi. Wakati wa kampeni za mwaka 2022. Hii ni miaka 3 baadaye. Zimejengwa ngapi? Unajua ukisema sasa tumeshajenga mabwawa 5, imesalia mabwawa mengine maybe 25. Utasema now that is a state of the nation. Hapo ndio tuko.
Thank you very much. Na katika dondoo za Taifa Leo, maybe kabla nikuachilie pale teke nikiwa naziangalia pale. Dondoo za Taifa Leo zinasema namna gani? Ahepa ndoa akidai mke mweza ni bingwa wa ndumba. Akasema hapana. Wacha basi nikuachie bana, uendelee na ndumba zako, mimi staizana pale vile. Waki nasema mke mwenza jamani ni bingwa wa ndumba kwa mpigo tena zaidi. Utansomea hizi ninio vidokezo kabla uende tafadhali?
Sawa.
Acha nikuwekee pale vile vidokezo kabla uende, nikuachilie uregee pale katika televisheni kwa mpigo tena zaidi.
Dondoo magazetini.
Mili ya watu
kidogo.
Vidokezo vya habari za kina.
Mili ya watu 25 waliofariki dunia katika maporomoko ya ardhi Chesongoch, Marakwet kuzikwa leo hii. Na Rais Ruto kutia saini mswada wa hazina ya kitaifa ya miundombinu kuwa sheria.
Asante sana.
Nikitoka nataka ni Q story nyingine upande ule kwetu. Masuala tu ya State of the Nation. Tuna hadithi hapa ya kuhusu economic plan za Rais Ruto, the economic blueprint kwenda mbele. See on the other side.
So swali umetupiwa ni jamaa pale.
Wanaona hiyo story alafu tutaendelea kudiscuss.
Thank you very much. And when you go back there, say good morning to your producer.
It is a story you can see in the numbers, feel in the homes, and trace in the lives transformed across our republic. A story whose facts are available for all to examine, except perhaps for the cynical who have no facts.
While patting his own back, President William Ruto opened his third State of the Nation address with the economy's 3 key indicators of health and growth: the inflation rate, currency stabilization, and national foreign reserves.
International analysts warned that it was no longer a question of if, but when Kenya would default. Within that context, we acted. We restored fiscal discipline. We eliminated wasteful subsidies.
President William Ruto now says the economy is under trusted opinion, expected to grow between 5 and 5.6% in the coming year, an indication, he argues, of increased foreign investor confidence and rising economic prospects.
14 of the world's leading financial institutions, including Citigroup, JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, and Goldman Sachs, projected that Kenya's economy will expand by between 5 and 5.8% in 2026. This confidence is anchored in solid fundamentals: lower credit costs, rising exports, improved household spending driven by low inflation, and a broadly stable macroeconomic environment.
The head of state notes that a large part of his boisterous economic turnaround plan is anchored on subsidizing production instead of consumption, a shift he says is bearing fruit, claiming farmers are now poised to harvest at least 70 million bags of maize this year, up from less than 50 million bags.
Over 7.1 million farmers are registered on the Kenya Integrated Agricultural Management Information System, giving us visibility to design scientific targeted interventions and eliminate extortionists, getaway brokers, and drive out cartels and middlemen.
However, beneath the spectacular economic picture painted by the president lies growing suspicion over the currency's stagnation against the greenback, which many analysts describe as possible market manipulation.
Our critics, the high priests of eternal pessimism, who criticize without responsibility and tear down without offering alternatives, will want you to believe that our economy is going in the wrong direction. But while everyone may speak their mind, and that is the beauty of our democracy, no one is entitled to manufacture self-serving falsehoods and traffic them as facts.
President Ruto also revised his earlier pledge under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, expanding the target from 100 dams to 250 assorted dams in strategic areas for maximum output. Hibak Said for TV 47.
Yes, Article 132 of the Kenyan Constitution on the function of the President provides that the President shall once every year, report in an address to the nation on all the measures taken and the progress achieved in the realization of the national value referred to in Article 10. So we go to Article 10. Article 10 on national values, principles and governance. The national values and principles of governance include patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, democracy and participation of the people. B, human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination and protection of the marginalized. C, good governance, integrity, transparency and accountability. And D, sustainable development. These are the national values and principles of governance that the President in his address is expected to report on the measures taken and the progress achieved. Allow me to welcome Hafidh Mohamud, who is a political commentator as well. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
One of the highlights on what came out of the State of the Nation address, and I'll start with you, was the reaction by members of parliament from the northeastern region. Some of them said that in the listing of roads to be dualled, that the northeastern region was totally left out. In fact, one of the members even threatened that the region may think about seceding from Kenya because the president left out that. Remember, the national values include equity and inclusivity. Do you agree with that member of the National Assembly?
Thank you. Good morning once again. And I want to say I agree with that member 101%. Because if you listen to the president listing so many goodies, though I don't even trust and believe in all, I haven't heard the way he once went to northern Kenya and described a road, I don't know from where to where. In that list of him, the only thing from northeastern Kenya we expected. We don't talk of coffee, we don't talk of dairy farming, we don't talk of fisheries, agriculture, in anything. We don't even have those things. So the only thing expected, at least anyone from northeastern Kenya was keenly listening, the president to tell us how many kilometers are already done, which kind of work is ongoing, when is it expected to, the funding ways, but nothing of that sort was heard in that. So why do we call ourselves Kenyans? Mm-hmm. Why do we even listen to president?
Yet even, Gakuna, even on the other areas of the country, even the roads, it was simply a promise. None has started. Do you consider that the state of the nation currently?
Friend, I have been able to listen to the president speak to the nation, and I have been able to analyze and foresight where we are heading to as a country. And as a patriot young person in this republic, I would first of all be very genuine and very honest and relate the president's speech to 4%. So we have 6% that we need actually to work on. But I don't see any effort being made to work on the 6% because it remains stories and promises. And when he was starting his speech, he started by saying that he had a vision. And of course, the vision was the better the plan. the bottom-up economic model. But he said now it is stories after stories. It is now a story, so it is stories after stories. But the stories that they are giving, they are not relating to the common mwananchi. They are not relating to the, or they are out of touch with the feeling and the mood of the Kenyan mwananchi. So the president really addressed what he thinks they have achieved, but not what the story of the Kenyan is given. And when he expect that roads, of course, it's very promising on what he said. There is roads and everything, but it is pegged on whether we shall be able to achieve and of course be able to be successful in the formation of the national infrastructure funds and of course the sovereign wealth fund for our nation. And the president addressing only the infrastructure, of course, he undermines the welfare of the common mwananchi. And the welfare of the common mwananchi is the economic impact in the homesteads, of course, the empowerment in the economic activities, the day-to-day activities. He really undermined our national security and, of course, strategic and national security issues. He undermined the police and the issues that the police and the public are facing. Of course, he also undermined the ethos and our national integrity as a country, because he only addressed what he needed us to hear. But we are very alert at this era, and he was very keen to say that their generation must not be timid, neither is ours timid when it comes to fulfilling the mandate of our own generation. Okay. So much stories he gave, but he really ignored issues of corruption, which is the main, the rampant or the white elephant into the room.
And we'll come to discuss the specific issues. For now, I just want to get a general feeling about whether the president met your expectations. Was that what you felt a State of the Nation address should address? Murigi, what is your feeling about that?
I feel like the president majorly talked about what he really wants us to hear. I feel like we have a very big gap between policy promises and what is really happening. So I feel like the gap that needs to be crossed is the gap between the promises and the Kenyan reality. Because honestly speaking, I think a lot of promises, and I feel like he keeps revising those promises over and over and over. Every time he stands to speak, he'll be making references to promises that he made and really not what has been done to accomplish those promises. So in as much as they've done quite a bit, I'd like to echo what he said. I really like to say that 4% is really what they've achieved, but the 6% that is really standing is what they are not looking at, is what they want to get us to not look at, which is really saddening, because what needs to be done is so much more, considering the fact that we are on year 3. So how long do we have to accomplish the things that are yet to be accomplished? Okay. Yeah.
All right. The president is known to have made a lot of promises during his campaigns in 2022 for the president, for the position of president. This is 3 years down the line. And critics are saying that he is now revising some of the promises he made back in 2022. We'll be back after the break to continue this conversation. You're watching Morning Cafe.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gun. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments. Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist. What is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47. Enjoy uninterrupted live streaming of your favorite programs on TV 47 and Radio 47 on the go with our new mobile-friendly website. Experience the future of broadcasting. Visit www.tv47.digital or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment. Welcome to the home of untold stories.
This is Kenya's #1 talk show, Dr. Farika tonight. My name is the Eagle himself. Dr. Farika is my name.
We are flipping the script, but guess what? Or should I say, guess who is taking over tonight's show?
Anyway, furahia umekaa na kasukuni. CP unit ni
Punet. So you guys knew about
Piga.
Sawa basi. Sema, that don't give you the whole time.
I don't want to go back to brokenness.
Never.
I just love the high life. Siwezi taka kuimagine ati nimesota.
You have to watch to find out. Tune in every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m.
Right, State of the Nation Address 2025 is our focus this morning. The President delivered his address as required by the Constitution yesterday before a joint sitting of the House, and that is what we are discussing with Kenyan youth here. Nick, your turn now, and what is your feeling? Because yes, the President has been big on promises, and he has said that yes, it's because probably we are a bit too, we are not as ambitious enough. And he has said we need to be ambitious enough. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yes, he spent some time giving us some of the achievements, and they do exist, especially on matters inflation, currency stabilization and stuff like that. But many Kenyans are a bit uncomfortable with some of these lofty promises going forward. Mm-hmm. Do you share in those sentiments?
Well, a very good morning, Fred. And yesterday I tuned in for almost 2 hours to listen to our dear President addressing us. And I was so much worried that I had a thought at the back of my head that he actually proved it to be true, that the President sleeps in Kenya, but he works in Singapore. He's telling us things that he's been working in Singapore every day and coming back to sleep after work. And Kenyans were really, really frustrated, saying that this is not the man we put in office. As a matter of fact, he should resign and live and work in Singapore, Fred, because he's getting better and better each and every day in filling Kenyans with
unrealistic lies, Fred. For example, a case study, I was very interested on the issue of tea, where most of my family members are farmers. And I could hear him saying figures like 213 billion. And I could see a Kisii farmer who recently complained that they have received a bonus of as low as 6 shillings, Fred. So this is a man definitely is not in Kenya.
But what is so wrong with aspiring to be like the Asian tigers? He took time, he spent quite some time talking about the successes of places like Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, and he even said the Malaysian Prime Minister will be here this weekend. But what is so wrong to be that aspirational?
And Fred, there's nothing wrong with us dreaming. But as well, we must come back and we must wake up from that slum dream and live the reality. He has not addressed the issue of that the economy is working. So many businesses have closed, Fred. That's the realistic. That's all. If you walk in the streets of Nairobi, businesses have closed. So how is the economy doing well? He did not address the issue of youth uprising, Fred, that is really burning this country, Fred. He did not address the issue of, I heard you say that the people of Mandera were promised roads, right? I could clearly see or hear that he has not addressed the issue of insecurity in Northeastern. We have 5 chiefs who were abducted, and he has not taken accountability of that. So Kenyans are asking, well, it is true, and it is everyone can live in a dream, but let us first, in our report card, let us say, this is how far we have done. These are our challenges, right? This is our next steps. But he's not doing so. He's filling Kenyans with the same lies that he did in 2022.
All right. Hans, because the issue is between dreams and reality. And the state of the nation should ideally give us our status as it is right now. The problems, the achievements, successes, even the challenges that we have currently. But many Kenyans are feeling that the president spent quite some time painting an image of a dream, an aspiration that we probably may achieve in the next 10, 15 years. And many feel that that is not the state of the nation today. Do you agree with that?
I agree. You know, all of us probably heard the speech of the president. And I want us to say facts as they are. Let us not listen to what we want. Let us discuss what the president said. Today, if I want to paint you negative, I'll always find an excuse because we do not have perfection of humanity. But we all heard president saying where we have come from, to where we are today, and where we want to be. So we cannot say today that the president talked much of promises than what we have done. More of those promises that he gave of maybe capital base of getting out almost 5 trillion to take this country to a first world, but just less than 10 minutes out of all his time speech. What did he say all the other time? He talked about where we've come from agriculture to where we are today. How many million bags are we producing today? He talked about sugarcane. How do we just run to roads? And shortly, I was just trying to go through the manifesto of UDA. You know, at times I think we are judging president from our own thinking. We are judging the president from our own manifesto. Every time when any leader wants to go to run for a position, he comes and gives us a manifesto. I want to believe that one day we'll come here with a printed manifesto of the current government and what has been achieved. There is one of the promises that is in that manifesto was that we are going to employ 116,000 teachers to cap the deficit. Today, government have employed 76,000 teachers, targeting 100,000 by the end of the year. We'll never see that as a success. Today, the same government have built over 23,000 new classrooms for JSS. We never discussed that. We see that as obvious. The same government today has reduced the cost of fertilizer to where it is today, which increases the production of food. What am I trying to say, Fred, is there are many things that have been achieved. One of the maybe challenge that doesn't go well with many people in Kenya today is that President has done so well from what he promised on his manifesto. It just gives us much bigger promise on where he thinks we should go, and that's what we judge him with. And him being an ambitious president of taking Kenya to a first world shouldn't be considered an appreciation, because it's not a selfish thinking. He doesn't have today to come and share her. So now he wants to make Kenya first world country if he just wants to be re-elected. He can do what we love. Then lastly is the other day in Northeastern when the road was being launched, and that road is under construction. It's going to be done by 2027, unless if we are not well fastened with the programs that the government is doing. Everything is not on the media. So at times you find them in a post. So if you think it's not working, there have been even YouTubers who travel all over the country to show what the president has really promised, and it is going on.
The MPs from that region are not happy with him, and they say that even from his speech, he seems to have left out. And we're just using what they said. We're not creating any headlines here. Do you disagree? Could they be wrong? These are members of parliament representing that region.
To my thinking, the president is right, and also the member of parliament is right. It's just that their display, I feel that the members of parliament from Northeastern displayed some selfishness for once. Because when we were launching that long road, there were no other roads on this other end. And we didn't complain about one road is being launched on the other end of over 700 kilometers. And we don't have such a long road on this other part of the country. Now that there's a road being built here, they are contradicting themselves. No. Just observe now, we are doing an SGR from Nairobi all the way to Kisumu. All right? And then a dual carriage from Nairobi all the way to Malaba. You cannot say now because there's a next year going to Kisumu, you also want a next year going to Eldoret. Everything is done in phases. Even to make a country today a first world, you cannot say today you will give a dual carriage to every region. You have to begin with a certain region. You have a plan for the country. You begin from some. Even today, if any one of us was to be a leader, you cannot wake up and you want to uproot roads everywhere. You have a plan for it.
All right.
You get it. And lastly, just to give my final comment on that, Fred, is that I want us to be factual enough to discuss what was promised in the manifesto and see where it is today. If all of us today if we have today a meeting that we come with a printed manifesto, we realize that the government has even done more than what was promised in there. Of course, the others hasn't been achieved. But it cannot be like today you're giving the government 4/6.
One of those promises he made, and it was in the manifesto, was about building 50 mega dams nationwide. Some of them in Ukambani and elsewhere. Rejoice. These are promises that was made more than 3 years ago. 3 years later, he's changed that promise and said, now we're going to add more dams. Shouldn't it have been better for him to tell us out of 50 that he promised, how far that has gone? Because many people are saying, and the criticism is that, okay, fine, he may have given us a bit of what he has done, but he glossed it over with the promises, so that most papers are now focusing on the promises he made and not the reality of where we are.
Thank you so much, Fred. Indeed, from yesterday's nation address from President Ruto, it shows that he and the allies from the KK government, they do not have a plan for this nation, because it is so sad that after 3 years down the line, the president is still promising. And you know the presidential term is 5 years. So what have they been doing all along? And therefore Kenyans cannot be fooled anymore. And Fred, because today we are talking about the State of the Nation and the State of the Nation address yesterday by the president, I would want to add that the State of the Nation is ultimately the state of the people. And therefore, I dare say and conclude that yesterday's State of the Nation address by the president, it was President Ruto's script. It was not Kenyan's script. Because what is the Kenyan script, which is the real script in the State of the Nation? The Kenyan script is that Kenyans are still complaining about the cost of education and the quality of education to their children. Kenyans are still complaining about the health care. You've seen the other day, the former governor, Mike Sonko, went to the hospital and bailed out at least more than 100 women who are not able to pay for their maternity fee. So when the president talks about a rosy kind of a state of nation, we wonder where he's reading from. So it was not it was his state of the nation. It was not the Kenyans' state of the nation. Of course, he was ridiculously backed by the other characters in his script, who are some of the members of parliament. You know, I dare call them hired hype men and women. Instead of representing the Kenyans, they were busy hyping and sharing the president. Yeah, so, and you'd remember that Mandela once said that a leader is like a shepherd. He or she leads the flock from behind and walks with the flock. President Ruto is not walking with Kenyans. He's walking in his own country. Like my friend Yannick said, he's living in Singapore when Kenyans are on their own here in Kenya.
Right.
Yeah.
And before I forget, because there's one thing that is very key to young Kenyans, and that's the issue of extrajudicial killings and abductions. Now, this is something that happened last year. It happened this year as well. Last year, in his address to the in his State of the Nation address, he spent some time talking about it, the relationship between Kenya and the police, Kenya's citizens and the police, and so many other things, including the possible use of excessive force. This year, his administration, in appointing a committee to compensate victims of the same, appeared to have, to a good extent, acknowledged that there was indeed a problem. A few months later, we saw what happened on June 25th. Do you feel that the president has moved on from this because he did not make any mention of that at all in his address yesterday?
Thank you, Fred. I think before I answer you, I will want to have a comment on what my brother Hans said. My brother commented saying people from that side, or the MP, complained because when they were given 700-kilometer stretch of road, other parts of the country never had that. I think have you ever gone to that side of the region, brother?
Never.
My mother is 70 years, as she is. She had never seen proper maram, leave of tarmac, proper maram. Some people are talking of, I don't know, dual carriage, SGR, and that part of the region never had tarmac. Hivi kwa macho kuona. So when you speak, I think we need to be also be very careful, because that is the only thing. Since 2007, I've been hearing that road, every coming government, from where to where. President Ruto went there. The hopes that we have buried for how many years, he arose that hope by, I don't know, telling us we have how many contractors on that road. Go that road. You cannot even find 40 kilometers, a proper 40 kilometer done. Mm-hmm. So I think on that one I don't loud. But coming to your question on the killings, President never properly acknowledged, to me that is my personal view, never acknowledged that there was even killings of the young people of this nation. I still don't remember where he came out, acknowledged and said this is what happened.
Don't you think by forming a committee for compensation, that in itself is an acknowledgement that there were issues?
No, at the beginning, he never even acknowledged. I don't remember any speech by the president saying, this is what the police have done, these are the number of people killed.
In the State of the Nation address last year, he talked about a possible use of excessive force by police. He also talked about this strained relation between citizens and the police. He talked about...
To me, that mention was never from him. Mm-hmm. By then, I'm so certain that at that time, there were some things going on between him and the ODM of those years. Maybe, to me, that is the only reason as to why at that time it got acknowledged. Mm-hmm. Now that story is sealed, they have merged, there is no opposition per se. I think now he has gotten back to factory setting where he was when those killings were happening. Mm-hmm. So why should he even address?
Because Kenya has been cited by the UN and other organizations about violation of human rights. And that has happened this year. Definitely, was an opportunity for the president to come out and clear the air, or at least give progress made in as far as countering that kind of bad publicity, probably. He ignored it altogether. It is part of the national values listed on Article 10, issues to do with human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, that he should be reporting on in his State of the Nation address. All this is described in the Constitution. Do you feel that, yes, that was deliberate on the part of the president?
Sure, that was deliberate, and I have no doubt about it. And friend, this is the problem why some of the men we have in our society do not want to own up their responsibility or be responsible of their actions. Because what the president is not accepting, as my friend has said here, that he does not agree or own his own mistakes. He does not, and he do not actually take responsibility of his actions and sentiments. And he's in public media, and he's, or rather he's in public saying that, you know, the young peoples were not killed, you know, and there was so much story, mixed up stories that there was not clear. If I were the president at this time, of course, and my generation, I'll be the president, I would, first of all, in that State of the Nation, align the Kenyan dream and what the expectations and the feeling of the people. Because where we are disconnecting with the government is that the government is tending to or pretends to understand the language of the people, but it is not really what it is. President Ruto, of course, skipping to talk about the police brutality, to talk about human rights and human freedoms, of course, freedoms of democracy that are enshrined and guaranteed in our constitution, it is very deliberate. Number one, this president did not believe in our constitution, the 2010 constitution. He never believed in it. In fact, if there is a constitution that he feels that, of course, he is not able to reach his potential of becoming maybe the Machiavellian or the authoritarian he would like, the government, our constitution does not allow him to do so. And you can see how he has treated those or the people or the groups that fight for their human rights, freedoms and democracy. Call out the media, how he has handled issues of our medias, the civil societies, and how the government is handling the civil society and the youth. Because those are the perceived enemies of the government, because they are keen and they are very awake to see how the government is running. And that's why when we are starting the debate, I said that in our generation, we should not neither feel timid, as he, of course, posted that the generation is not timid by the whatever they are facing. So it is high time we address issues that are concerning us. Also, the issue of foreign affairs and our foreign affairs and international relations with other countries was never addressed. You know how Kenyans have been treated, even those today we have outcry of those who have been facilitated by the government through the Kazi Maju. They are still have some worries, but the government is not issuing any address to them. I think we need to pay attention to where the Mwananchi is. I would like, before I give up to the mic, to echo on what the Eastern MPs, of course, did yesterday. Of course,
Northeastern.
Yeah, not the Northeastern. It is high time that we also be able to look at Kenyans and carry Kenyans as one, because we are one nation, one country. Let us stop, of course, talking about marginalized communities. Let us talk about Kenya, because we do not have to marginalize others so that we can say that from that far end, those people, they do not deserve this. But it was very reckless for an MP, of course, to echo on or bring an issue of seceding from Kenya. That was very reckless at such a time when we have very fragile and a geopolitical shifting economies and of course our international or rather our national security very fragile. That is a dangerous comment to comment on. You can see how we have made our country, of course, we are not of course, building our country or much tightening our country and the grip of our country, because you can see even how other neighboring countries, they have sentiments about Kenya and how they would wage even a war with Kenya.
Yes.
I think those are the kind of issues that we need to address as a country.
And yes, indeed, it is a very dicey thing, issues to do with inclusivity, equity and equality, and that cuts across, and I think that's part of the challenge there. Back to this issue of human rights. And we've seen even what has happened across the region, across Kenyans complaining in Tanzania, Kenyans complaining in Uganda about the mistreatment. This was an opportunity because human rights is indeed one of the national values that he should be reporting on in his State of the Nation address. And thinking about what happened to the young Kenyans this whole year, why do you think the president decided to leave that out in its entirety? He's been accused of cherry picking. I think it is on the front page of the Daily Nation, on cherry picking on some of the things where he may come out as a hero.
I think going back to last year when a lot of youths were killed, I think we would pinpoint a particular character with our president respectfully. You see, when at first it happened, what he did was he came out with a lot of anger. And his response was not that of a parent, it was not that of concern. It was that of, you guys are challenging me, and now I want to fight against you. And I believe he went back and he was advised against that. So what happened yesterday with the straight address was that our president spoke, but we're still waiting for answers because he really, you see the cherry picking, it's not just a claim. That is what he was really doing. You see, for instance, the things that have been happening in Uganda, in Tanzania, we have our workers who we can see being assaulted clearly. We have, not starting from today, but I think from a while back, whereby we always have claims of our citizens being mistreated in other countries. But then again, I feel like because they've not taken any action to protect our citizens from that, then again now they deviate from that, because if I come talk about something that has been happening, but again I've not taken any steps towards resolving that, and it is my responsibility, then it makes me look bad.
Yes.
So I think the president will basically just step away from that, because if I talk about it and I've not taken responsibility, what does that make me look like?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's a matter of him not bringing up issues that, because I feel like if we cannot acknowledge things, then we cannot resolve issues. So it's a matter of stepping away from things so that we don't take accountability of the things that we are not really doing.
Should that be the case, where we just choose the good things and ignore the challenges that are obviously there? Because his speech yesterday came just 2 days after the New York Times published an expose on how Kenyans are being trafficked. In his speech yesterday, he talked about the success of migrating Kenyans' labor to the same countries. Do you see the disconnect there, or probably even a clarification of what may be, or the situation that really portends according to him? All that was missing. We're just talking about the success.
Fred, we as Kenyans, indeed, we are very sad, because if the president has enough time to meet more than 300 members of parliament and promise them that they are going to work together, they are going to build a political narrative that is very important in this country, many Kenyans are asking the number of families that have lost their children, or the number of people that have lost their lives in this political environment are not as many as 300 people, Fred. The art of human touch, we believe that the president had enough time to first, even for the benefit of the good faith, call these families, sit them down and listen to them, listen to their cries. But this is not his priority, because his priority is, let us get a second term. Not on delivery. How do we feel the hope, the lies, the same people we did in 2022? And that's why you saw it was clearly an orchestrated charade yesterday, that at some point some, or let me say most, members of parliament were shouting two-term. In the House, of legislation, Fred. Kenyans are asking a simple question. One, is this house a house of accountability? Is this a house that is supposed to put in check the executive, which is led by the president? Or to clap constantly? Because if a person is coming to give its report card, then there should be feedback from the members of parliament. They should say, Mr. President, sir, like other mature democracies, that this is what you have done. This is what you have not achieved. There should be a scorecard. You should run bit to bit. But it seems as if it was the president had gone there to make himself feel good about what he thinks he has achieved or what he thinks he needs to achieve.
Right.
It's a very sad state this morning, Fred, that Kenyans cannot account that anything humane that the president has done in this nation.
All right. And the framers of the Constitution definitely knew why they put this provision in the Constitution that the president has to report to Parliament at least once a year on the state of the nation. It is purely because of accountability. Of course, members of the National Assembly and the Senate are going to engage in debate on the State of the Nation address. But when the president leaves out intentionally some rather obvious happenings in the country, that says a lot. That there will be no opportunity for the Senate or the National Assembly to examine his sentiments on issues like human rights, which have been a constant discussion this whole year. Why in your thinking, Hans, do you think the president left out that? It is one of the national values, and it's not that we do not have instances where he needed to address.
Fred, I wouldn't have a negative thinking. The reason why he left this is because of he didn't want to discuss it. Just the same way the fact that he discussed some meant that meant that probably it was maybe to cover up other things. I'm just asking myself, like, you cannot say everything. There are many even successes which he never indicated. Like even how he has supported the sports industry. We see how our Rambesters, he gave a real support to Rambesters, renovations in Kasarani, Nyayo, Talan. There are many other things that President didn't mention which are of success in his government. And maybe the others that he didn't mention which are not yet at the point whereby Kenyans are expecting it to be. So it doesn't mean that it was intentional or to do. So we shouldn't criminalize what hasn't been discussed. What we should be in a position today to do is to be mature enough and appreciate what has been done and criticize which hasn't been done. And that is the better way we can take Kenya forward today. If today we are seated here to discuss only what president has not done.
Do you feel like human rights is something that needs to be discussed, police brutality and issues around that?
It is, but it doesn't mean that because it was not stated yesterday at the State of the Nation, it's not discussed. It's always discussed. It doesn't mean that everything that is important had to be mentioned yesterday, Fred. Or you cannot mention everything. Even if today you are given a 2-hour address to address Parliament, you will never mention everything that you're doing as a national government. The other things you might find yourself slipped over and so on. But that doesn't mean that the government is insensitive about it. We cannot have our thinking today and say, just because this was never discussed, that it means that the president didn't want it to do. And asking myself lastly is, everyone today will always have a reason of what a president has not done. If you say today the president has time to visit the members of parliament, have a meeting with members of parliament, he had never had a time to visit the victims of abduction and killings. So if the president today visits them, will this criticism end? No. Someone else will come and say the president didn't launch a dual carriage all the way to Northeast. And if he launches today, this criticism will end? No. Let me tell you lastly, as I hand over the mic is, we have a team today in Kenya whereby we've developed politics of tribal. You support somebody based from your tribe, nationally. Number two, we support leadership today in Kenya based on personal benefit. Either party I'm in, If it's in the government, probably you defend it so that you feel you are in the government. If you are in the opposition, you will fight to get into the government. We rarely have real, true ideological discussions. That's why today there are people who from January to January will always discredit whatever the president has done. Not a time, you can never say that the president, out of 100 promises, all of them are 0. Unless we are all mad.
We are asking a specific question about the human rights. And chapter, if you look at Article 10, is actually one of the shortest in the Constitution, where it provides for the national values and principles of governance. It is very easy to actually tabulate each of them and just talk about each one of them. Why do you feel, are there conversations that are too painful or too difficult to be addressed in such a forum?
You know, the president, being the president of Kenya, once again I've said that before a leader is elected, in whichever position, be it president, be it a woman rep, be it an MP, it means that they have the capacity to serve the citizens that elected them. And therefore, matters of human rights or any other issues affecting Kenyans, it should not be difficult for the president to explain to Kenyans, to talk to Kenyans. And again, speaking on the human rights issue, yesterday as I was speaking to the president address the nation, you know, I was reflecting and I wondered to myself, where is the president's love for Kenyans and this country? Where is the president's empathy for Kenyans? Where is the president's patriotism? Where's the president's, servant leadership? Because it is lacking. And of course, he left key issues like corruption. Corruption, it is still rampant in our countries. It is denying citizens the dignity of services from their taxes. And therefore, I think to condole myself, I just ended up reading this verse from the Bible in Matthew 12:34. The mouth speaks what the heart is full of, says the Bible. And therefore, I think there's still hope for us Kenyans. The good thing is that our good constitution, which the president and his government do not follow. And you remember that, Fred, yesterday the opposition held a press brief, and they raised concerns about, again, the president not following the constitution. I know the opposition based their claims on how the government is conducting the current by-elections countrywide. You've seen the state's officials participating in the campaigns, which is against the constitution. So truly, we did not expect somehow the president to touch on the constitution, because he himself is a perpetrator and is among the people breaching the constitution.
Right. I can see we have very few minutes, and I'd like to give each one of you an opportunity.
Give us a minute. You know, I was listening to Mr. Hans, our chief protagonist of the day of the UDA. I want to take you down memory history. Why the president is struggling, allegedly, to give an accountability of loss of human rights. One, is because this is a man who went to Hague on accounts of lives that were lost in an election. The people of Kiambaa until today have not recovered. There's so many lives that were, the case at the Hague, I'm coming there. I'm coming there, Fred.
You want to make a direct accusation?
No. I said allegedly. Direction, yes. I said allegedly because the case was not closed. Because of lack of witnesses. It means the case is still valid.
What's the point?
You get? Yes. I'm saying that Kenyans are saying these are patterns. 2007, we saw a pattern allegedly that a man was taken to Hague for the loss of human lives. Fast forward 2024, lives were lost. Still no accountability. 2025, lives were lost. Still no accountability. So Kenyans are saying, in simply, that we have seen the pattern. We have seen the pattern, Fred, that he simply does not value so much the essence of human life. And because, Fred, it is agitating Kenyans more to make sure that this president exists and serves only for one term.
Right.
Yes.
Allow me to give you some time, not a minute, a bit more than a minute, probably to give a way forward from this, because yes, the president came, gave a State of the Nation address. Many people, and I could tell from this panel, out of 6, 5 are just feeling like, no. Okay, so what would you have expected the president to have done? And are we dismissing his State of the Nation address in its entirety?
Okay, I cannot say we will dismiss all he said, because there are some which are true, very few in fact. But I want to say first, in the entire address, let's remove one thing that has been repeating in his address for the last 2 years. Let's remove, what do you call, the subsidy on fertilizer and housing project. What else? And let's also remove the Singapore and whatever, those issues. What else? A youth from Isiolo will say, okay, I've listened to my president saying, these are the industries that came to Isiolo, it has employed 1, 2, 3 people. These are the benefits I've given to this youth and their talents. Kuna stadium in Isiolo that is built. There is this people connected to the national grid. There is 1, 2, 3, maybe a hub for the youth, a e-hub is there. What is it that I can sit and say, okay, as a youth, leave off fertilizer and whatever. They are part of this country that don't even know what is fertilizer. To us, it's not even useful. What's fertilizer? For you in Isiolo, what's fertilizer? What's affordable housing? A president came, I still remember him because I was there with him in Isiolo, launched a very fancy, I don't know, is it called Industrial Park? Where he left is exactly, I don't know, what do you call that thing in the president?
The plaque. The plaque, yeah.
That's the only thing that's still there. So as a youth, what will I listen to this president and say, okay, I'm innovative, okay, I have some skills and some talents. So I sat and listened to him, and I wanted to hear, there is this opportunity that's coming your way. As a young, innovative person, you can tap into this, then at least you benefit. Mm-hmm. I think the entire thing, the only thing President told us repetitively, that I don't know how many houses were built, it is giving how many people which kind of jobs. My friend, in which part of this country can you say, me as Mahmoud, I've been given a job, ya kujenga, now I'm building. How long will it take for me to build that affordable housing?
All right.
What next after now?
Yet we also acknowledge that there are real challenges, fiscal challenges, resource constraints. On issues like infrastructure, he says, yeah, we definitely need more money. These are just the realities of life in Kenya, and this is probably the state of the nation as well. Would you have wished the president to go that way and talk about the debts and the constraints and challenges?
Sure. This is the best moment or time that the president is given, especially by the House that represents the voice of the people. And being or how it was structured, it's for him to address us in our house, because the parliament is our house, it is the people's house. And when we give him that a chance, it is for him to explain to us how he is, of course, using our resources and how he expedites and plans, of course, to use our resources. However scarce our resources are, they are enough for us, of course, to supply. If not sufficient, then at least enough for the Kenyans, of course, to feel, and the warmth, of course, to feel, of course, appreciated of their efforts in a republic. He talked about inspiration that, of course, at some point, I agree and tend to believe in what it entails. But the president and his team lack synergy because the team that we see the president working of is not synergized. They are more in political moods rather than, of course, strategic minds into the Kenyan work and the plight of the Kenyans. If I were the president, I would focus on improving the politics, not just the service deliveries. Also, we need also to look at the politics as the model of the protection of power and the pursuit of power, because this model that we are using as politics that are very reactional, it's not very healthy to our economy, neither is it healthy to our national security, and neither is it healthy to our welfare as Kenyans. We need to focus on politics of rural development, and one champion that we give the honor as a champion of politics of rural development is Raila Odinga. You know how he fought for devolution and how he fought for decentralization of services, including moving the NGCF funds from national government to county government so that there can be a sufficient supply of resources into the villages and rural areas. But the house that should facilitate, it is the people that we delegated our power and we delegated our voice to, our MPs. But they have resorted, in fact, they have frustrated us and they have disappointed and betrayed our will, because we expected them not to institutionalize politics and political slogans into our house, because that house, of course, it's neutral to each other. It is our house as a country. However, whichever family we came from, whether we came from whichever political party or whichever region we came from, we come to that house to address issues and matters of our country. And when they institutionalize political slogans, now the house of two-term, of course, that is the government and our people that we delegated that are joining against the people. Why would we not, as people also, of course, unite around our one-term slogan, and because we are facing the same issues? I think as a parliament, as much as it looks like the best baby in a family for President William Ruto, it is a disgrace and unpleasant to the Kenyans. And it is high time we address those issues now and, of course, going forward. And I want to invite these young people that we need to focus. It is high time that our generation showcases what we have. We are ambitious, and the president agrees that we are ambitious, but we at some point it is we are not of course bold enough to face issues as they are. We have a behavior of few men in our societies not agreeing to our national ethos and integrity that we have come together. So it is high time that we invite even Hans. I would ask him to join us, so because he's fighting for the wrong person. However, reluctant to that call. But Murugi, we also need to be alive to the fact that we are already in a political season. It is about 18, almost 17 months to the next election. And the president definitely is seeking re-election. Are we expecting too much from a president who's definitely already in a campaign mode, that he would come and tell us the reality of our life and our real state of the nation, as opposed to actually talking about his scorecard and the positive side of it?
I would say to that actually what happened yesterday was more of political positioning more than addressing the situation of the nation right now. Because I feel like what we expected mostly yesterday was an outline of what was promised, what has been achieved, what failed, and why it failed. Because I think that is what accountability means, and that is what a state of the nation is meant for, accountability. But did we get that? No. So mostly, I feel like we're expecting so much here from a president that is already putting himself out there, because I feel like, especially from what he said and what the papers are saying today, the two-term chant, you know, it means we have a very big disconnect, because we are really crying for results, but what is really happening out there? What are our politicians doing? They're really just, they're putting themselves out there to get back in office to do things that we've already seen they cannot do. They've already proven to us that they're unable to achieve, because I think they've been there for a while now. But what results do we have? Because, I mean, we are not really completely saying that they have not done anything. It would be unfair to do that. They've done something, but is it really the most they can do? It really is no. I think they have more capacity, they have more resources, they are able to do more, they are not doing more. They are just getting themselves ready to get back into parliament to do nothing again.
Wow.
Yeah.
How would you have done it different, Nick?
One, Fred, Kenyans are saying this morning, that this is nothing new that he has done. Simply, let us prepare him to go home, because he will come again 2026, fill Kenyans with the same lies. He has done it in 2024, 2023, and 2022, maybe. 2, you can clearly see that the wave is shifting, that he needs authentication from members of parliament, not Kenyans. Outside here, Kenyans are shouting one term. At the parliament, where he thinks that he controls the narrative, he organized a certain small majority of Kenyan population to say 2 term. But reality is, including these by-elections, and you will see it. It will start in Bere, he will lose this candidate. It will go to Malava, it will go to Magharibi, it will even go to Kasipul. Because the awakening of Kenyans is becoming a realistic day by day. Kenyans don't want to put leaders who can just clap for a figurehead. Kenyans are looking for 1, good roads, 2, good health coverage. We are still struggling, Fred. Our parents are still struggling. Our sisters, there's still no good health coverage. 3, our education sector is a mess. We have not seen any responsibility in our education system. Today, as we speak, is the last day of candidates in high school. What are they coming outside here to do? Where are they going, Fred? Parents are worried. Those are the issues that he ought to have addressed. And above all, I feel my brother, who's coming from Northeastern, as we have enjoyed roads in our counties, to them, a simple tarmac is something to celebrate, because it has not happened. You see, he said his mother is 70 years. It has not happened in more than 50 years, I will say. And finally, Fred, because I want to agree with Castro that it is a time that young people should open their eyes and come together. And that's why this evening, we the people are saying that we are going to organize again. We are going to reflect about yesterday's State of Nation, and we are going to appear.
You will appear?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Wait for it.
Tungoje.
Yes.
Watch this space. Hans, final words.
Just, every time I come to TV47, I always enjoy the interviews so much and how you do it. You just asked my brother Nick, how would our president done it different? He answered these things. But, that's why you when president goes to meetings, he says, see what to kill, because they only fight the government. They don't have alternative options. They only tell Kenyans, send this guy 1 term, and are not telling Kenyans what is it that they are planning them for. And that's why you will also find President Ruto being re-elected before you realize. If you want to chase out President Ruto, begin telling people what you want to do. Don't tell people what Ruto hasn't done. Just to give my last feedback in this, I want to speak to Kenyans who are listening to me today and the young people, and probably my brother Castro, who wishes to invite me on the other end. It doesn't mean today, if you have any difference with President Ruto, that all youths are against Ruto. We are not whole men. There are many young people in UDA. There are many young people who hate what the president has done. So it doesn't mean because you are against it, you assume it is all Kenyans. Do not come here or go to your village and imagine that everybody hates the current president. Be sober enough, you should do it. There are many things today, I'll tell a few, that the government today has done. If you go today to housing project, one of the purpose of housing, and I want to say here because one day we'll come to discuss it. Kenya, we have 11.1% arable land. If you remember today where you were raised, when you were young, the land was bigger. The brothers of your dad, your uncles, shared the land. If it was 10 acres and they are 4, they have 2.5 acres each. Now your dad, our sons, including you, they have shared it, maybe they have 1 acre each. Even as our children are coming, we will not have anywhere to farm to feed our communities. The government is coming in with an housing project first to encourage rural urban migration so that we have rural to feed our country. Because most of our land is desert, it cannot produce food. And that's why you see the president has ideas of bringing in irrigation and so on. That was the purpose. And number 2, additional in that housing program, there are small jobs that come in, like plumbers, electricians, masoneries. Let me just say, there are many, but let me just indicate that 201. There's something called e-citizen. When the government took over, there are 352 services of government on eCitizen. Today we have over 20,000 services. It has capped the money that used to be stolen. If we used to come here and complain about getting a passport in immigration, reason? Because they are schemed on how you have to pay for you to get a passport, and could even take 6 months to get a passport. Today it's less than 2 weeks. Within a week or two at the maximum, you'll have your passports. Why? Because there are things that have been schemed. You observe even KWS, they used to get 3.5 billion per year. Today they're able to get up to 9.5 billion. Why? Because they have enhanced digital way of raising these taxes and new revenue for the government. Just lastly, before I finish this, even if you check whatever the government is trying to do today on e-procurement, this EGP, which is being fought by prostitutes, who are fighting it, the who's in the authorities will always benefit from the tenders. Okay. What is the EGP saying? That all tenders will be on the platform, online platform. I mean, anybody, anywhere, even somebody today in Marsabit can apply for a tender in Nandi County and win. But we will never see such successes.
And he did not talk about that yesterday.
And you are only interested on what was said.
Yes, we were talking about the State of the Nation Address 2025.
Yeah, and that's
Rejoice. Final comments.
Thank you so much. I could have much to say, but as my parting shot, I would reiterate that indeed Kenyans do not need perfect speeches, do not need perfect, clapping from the members of parliament. What Kenyans need is real solutions, and real solutions can only be begotten by true and servant leaders, and that is what we are lacking in Kenya. And in Kenya, we are truly lacking that kind of leadership, and there's still hope, because we as the Kenyans, we have the power of the ballot, we have the power of the votes. And Fred, if I was in the streets right now with my Gen Zs, what I would tell President Ruto is that, Mr. President Ruto, it is not about you, it is about the Kenyans. Have that in mind.
All right, thank you so much, Rejoice Mudheu Mwambia, who's an aspirant for Woman Rep Machakos County 2027. Asante Sana Hans Rop, political commentator. Nick Mwangi, who's a SG Kenya Hadi Party. We have Murugi Gitonga, who is digital worker and youth activist. Kuna Njima Castro, political scientist and also the founder of the National People's Guard. And Hafith Mohamud, also a political commentator. Our panelists this morning, young Kenyans of note. This has been the Youth Perspective, discussing the State of the Nation Address 2025. Did it meet your expectation? What would you have wanted to hear from the President? And should we look forward for another State of the Nation Address in 2026, which will be another less than 6-8 months to the election? It's going to be an interesting one come then. Once again, I look at the dailies, and that's all they're talking about, Ruto's roadmap to Singapore. Yes, because it's about the promise of where we are going. Yes. And yes, the Star says, the Weekend Star says, according to the President, it can be done. We can get to Singapore. But according to the Standard, this is simply out of touch. These are the dailies, the headlines. I'm just reading out. I'm not creating any. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Today being the very last day of the KCSE exam, it's already 8 o'clock, so all the candidates are in the exam room. They're doing physics paper 3, the practicals, to 10:30, and that will be the end of KCSE 2025. It is a Feel Good Friday here at TV47. DJ Kicks, Ano Dida, and Bansa Kimoyu will be coming up next. My name is Fred Ndimuli. Good morning.